Welcome to this first partner webinar. My name is Koen, one of the founders of Instant, and today I'm excited to do this webinar together with Casper Dolk, the founder of Mason Commerce. Mason Commerce is a Shopify agency based in Amsterdam, serving clients all across the world. And today we're gonna zoom in how Instant is supercharging the workflows of Mason Commerce by tenfold. But instead of me sharing everything about Instant, we're actually letting an agency, in this case Mason Commerce, do the talking. So let's dive in. So Casper, once again, welcome. And just to kick it right off, what does Mason Commerce do?
So like you said, first of all, thank you for having me. What we do is we're a landing page and Shopify theme company. We're full service, meaning we do design, development, copywriting, with a bit of a CRO twist to it. So that's also like kind of what sets us apart from, let's say, just a development agency, is we really think about like a marketing perspective and more of a conversion perspective than just doing either design, development, or just copy.
Cool. And maybe you already said it a bit, but can you maybe explain a bit like why merchants choose you over other agencies? So like what's your special sauce?
Yeah, sure. Like we said, it's basically because we're full service. So clients come to us because they want like the full package rather than, we only need the design or just the development. So we got designers, developers, copywriters, who take on the whole project and deliver a fully final deliverable.
Cool. And we talked about the sauce, what makes you different, but I think one step back is like, can you share a bit about the history and like how Mason Commerce was founded?
Yeah, sure. Myself, I started as like a freelance designer. We actually worked together in the past for a different company. So we knew each other for quite some time. At that time, it was just designing. So it was just myself designing, mostly web interfaces. And from there, we kind of wanted to pick a niche. So there were a lot of niches, but the one that we saw was really interesting was like e-commerce, because basically the things that you made, you can instantly measure the impact, right? Like you can see the conversion rate, the AOV, you can track everything. While, for example, with a restaurant website, it's way harder to do because there's way less traffic running. So from there, we picked that niche and we doubled down on it. That's around like 4 years ago. We fully went into like e-commerce, and we've helped like clients in the most diverse niches. So everything from supplements, fashion, national, international, basically everything in between.
Nice. And you talked about the e-com niche, and like, are there like specific verticals you zoom into, like within like the e-com / Shopify niche?
Not necessarily. We do take a lot of supplement clients together with fashion and beauty. So these are kind of the ones that come to us quite often. And to be honest, we like supplements the most because you can get really deep with like the different landing pages, different funnels also with Instant.
I think that's a nice edge towards Instant. So you already mentioned that you're using Instant. Can you describe a little bit about your typical workflow before you were using Instant?
Yeah, sure. Basically, since the team is kind of like technical, what we did is we first designed everything in Figma. We still do that. But then we had our own Webflow converter. So we built the entire page, the landing page, the theme in Shopify or in Webflow. And then we had our own Webflow to Shopify converter, kind of like Udisly, something like that.
Yep.
But just a bit more advanced, a bit more tailor-made towards our use case. But still, it wasn't perfect because we had to make a lot of changes afterwards in the code. We had to dive into the liquid to still make changes. Before, I never really was a fan of like page builders because they really slow down the page speed, they limit you. And then I came across like Instant, where you said like, hey, we're working on Instant. and it was really like even the beta, like when we were invited to the beta, it was already like very nice in terms of like the UX. But yeah, basically the entire workflow went from Figma, then revisions, then development in Webflow to Shopify. It went literally to Figma. Okay, it's Figma approved. Then we moved to Instant, and for landing pages, we can do like within a day or a couple hours, get everything up and running now.
Nice. And you talk about from Figma to Instant. Can you maybe elaborate a bit more, like how you accomplish that?
Yeah, I mean, right now we use a lot of auto layout in Figma, which is super nice because with the Figma app, it's very easy. Like the Instant app, it's very easy to just like copy the frames and paste them into Instant. It copies all the styling. We just right now have to do some like responsive things, like for mobile, like some responsive things. But yeah, it's way faster because you can just export it right away.
Yep. Nice. And I'm really curious, like were there like other solutions in the market, or like why in the end did you choose really for Instant? What was the secret sauce from Instant? Why did you choose us?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple of things. Like we've tried a lot of things, right? We tried competitors, we tried like Udemy, we had our own tool, but they all lacked somewhere. Like it was either like the usability, you had to be very specific with how you set things up, or just like the functionality in Shopify. For example, like everything would be static text, and whenever you want to translate or go to a new market, you basically have to redo everything or like make a lot of changes. So basically that really made us look for like an alternative, which allows us to scale faster, because yeah, it was a lot of like hours from the team, like building everything like pixel perfect.
Yeah, clear. And I think you talked already about it, but I want to zoom it a bit more on it, like those particular aspects, like for example, the static content, and I give a little bit of a hint, right? The markets piece, like, can you share a bit like how that is like really improving the work you do for clients?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, like in e-commerce, one of the most important factors that we've seen is like speed of execution. So, for example, let's say a brand wants to like launch into or tap into a new market. It's really important that they can do that as fast as possible because they want to test, okay, how is like the German market replying to or like reacting to this landing page. So for example, now with Instant, when we have like translations through native like Shopify markets, it makes it feel very native. Like we've built stores, also like entire stores with Instant, and basically they're fully translatable and fully like customizable per market. So that really sets us apart from the other alternatives that we've tried.
Yeah, clear. And that's like, from the Shopify side of things, right? When you publish something. But I also want to take one step back, is that we talked a bit about Figma to Instant, but it would be great to share your experience in working like with that plugin and like how, what the best practices are and learnings from your side.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we tried out the beta of the app, and it already like blew us away. Like with other like page builders, the only thing that you could really do was like copy styles. But with you can basically select an entire section full of elements like columns, images, everything, buttons. You copy it and you paste it, and it's basically pixel perfect. Maybe just like for responsiveness, you need to do like a few things, but you can literally get like a section within minutes from Figma to Instant and Shopify.
And I think it would be nice for the people listening. Can you maybe share a high level case you've done for a merchant and like how that process from A to Z like look like in terms of timelines, and just to really give the listeners and viewers some body of like how such a process look like. And then it will also be nice and then how long it took when you previously did it without using Instant.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, whenever we do like full Shopify themes, right now we also just use Instant because it just speeds up the entire workflow. So yeah, we first design everything in Figma. Once everything is approved by the client, uh, we have a task for the developer to just like create all the sections in Instant as separate sections. And the nice thing is then like if all these sections are final, we can publish them in one go to Shopify. And then what we do in Shopify is we just add like them all to, let's say, a product or a page template or a homepage. Like previously, like the entire process, like design development, yeah, it would take like 4 or 5 weeks, which was still like okay and pretty fast. But like I said, like clients in e-commerce, they just appreciate the speed of execution. So if they have the design and if they have approved it, I mean, yeah, they would just love to get it live the same day, right? And now with Instant, like we can just select all these frames, export them, put them underneath each other, make them responsive, and then within a few hours you basically are good to go. So it's saving like enormous time. Like I would think like 10.
Nice, good to know. And in terms of like the learning curve, right? Because we chatted a lot about you using it, and the results speak for itself. How was like the learning curve when you adopted Instant?
It's pretty good. Like it's because we already used Figma as a design tool, and in terms of like the entire like drag and drop interface and everything, it's very easy to use, right? You just have like elements. You don't have to code anything, which is really nice. Like I also let my designer play with it, and he also like created some layouts. So that also says like, okay, now designers can. But yeah, the UI is very intuitive. It's very easy to use. Like add elements, delete them. So yeah, the UI is definitely one of the main USPs also for clients. If they want to change something, they can just hop in and then make small changes.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. In terms of how it's helping your agency, you already shine some light in terms of like the speed of execution, but can you zoom in a bit more on like how it improved like agency operations and client management?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, like right now, like or prior to it, there were a lot of manual steps that like we used to go through. Like we would have to create a project, then we would have to like create all the sections, make sure all the breakpoints are set. Like right now that isn't needed, right? So with the Figma plugin, it isn't needed at all. So yeah, I mean the time is already cut down, which allows us to take on more clients or even deliver better results to the existing ones because they get their designs faster. Internally, it's also way better because the designs are now, whenever we have them from Figma, we can just copy them and they're pixel perfect, which often was a issue with using, for example, like our own or previous method, was that, hey, like there's like something off because it's not properly 100% properly copied from the design, which I think a lot of development agencies or web agencies in general can agree with, and is a huge pain point, is that like the designer made something and development, they're kind of stuck because they don't really know how to make it, or they're like small things off which the developer cannot see but the designer can see, so the client will also see it. So yeah, basically it means like we right now have way happier clients because we're delivering faster results, but also more pixel perfect. Like if we have a design, it's one-on-one in Shopify and Instant.
Nice. Thanks for sharing the depth on that question I've asked. I think we chatted a lot about the product and how it's helping you, but like for who would you recommend Instant? Like what types of people and agencies would really benefit most from Instant from your perspective?
So I think there are a couple like avatars that could really benefit from Instant. It's either, let's say you run a web design and development agency that also wants to offer like Shopify themes to clients or landing pages to clients, then now basically it's possible. So if your team uses Figma, they can also basically build it because the learning curve is so easy. Basically anyone could use the tool. Maybe it takes a couple days to really get used to everything and play around with it. But after that, you can basically add that to your services, right? So that's really nice for existing agencies that don't necessarily offer it to clients. So they don't necessarily offer Shopify services to clients. Apart from that, also, I would say just e-com brands in general that want to scale like very fast. We've used competitors and we've run into so much issues with like Shopify markets or like bugs, things not working, the code being very bloated, which just isn't the case with Instant. So I think for brands that are looking to try out some page templates or landing pages, it's also usually beneficial since you have like the template library. Anyone can use it. They can change the colors, the fonts. So I would say like most beneficial for existing agency owners and e-commerce brands that want to kind of try out like landing pages.
Thanks. In terms of like advice, giving advice to agencies considering adopting Instant, are there like any misconceptions or like surprises you encountered while adopting Instant for your business?
Are there any common misconceptions or surprises? Not a lot. Like the thing was it feels very native, right? So I think that like some agencies can think like, oh, we have to learn an entire new tool. I mean, if you use Figma, it's going to be very easy, like with the plugin. And I would just suggest like try it out for like a couple hours, like play around with it, make some landing pages. You also don't need like a Shopify store, which is really nice. Like you can just use like the demo content to see how the interactions work, the variant options and everything. So I would just like suggest to play around with it, and I think like the teams from these agencies will get very excited by how easy it is to use.
Clear. And in terms of like the future of agency work, like what trends in the agency world do you think will be mostly impacted by technologies like Instant?
I think it makes development and landing pages way more open to everyone. Like at first it was more of a thing like, okay, I have to hire a designer, then we have to find a developer, copywriter. Right now with Instant, like basically like one person could handle the entire process, and also brands on themselves, right? They can just like play around with it, build their own pages and get like pretty good results also. So I think it's really like a tool that a lot of brands and people will use to kind of try out like landing pages and concepts that they previously thought like were very hard to create. Like, oh, I have to learn coding or I have to do this. Now it's not needed. Like it's a visual builder, so it's very, very nice for them to get used to.
And last question to wrap things up. How do you see Mason Commerce evolve in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think in terms of team, we would have like separate pods working on separate projects. So we have like a designer, developer, project manager, and copywriter in each pod. And from we will really scale like the agency, so we can serve more clients. Also with the updates that you've shown me, like the upcoming features, that will really help also with the client side of things. So yeah, I think like in terms of scaling, we're really looking forward to keep using Instant in our workflow and introduce it to our clients.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for providing so much depth and answers on the questions. That's it for the Instant Partner webinar. I really hope it gave you value and insights, and I hope to see you in the next webinar. Once again, thanks for watching.